Hi, I'm Mary Kopczynski, the CEO of Regulator. Welcome to this week's Regulatory Roundup. This week, there were 2,352 alerts from 505 unique U.S. regulators. There were 634 financial alerts, thanks Reddit, 468 coronavirus alerts, 55 FinTech alerts, 17 of which were critical, and 14 cannabis alerts. The regulator of the week is the Department of Justice. So many fun topics this week. Number one, they busted a US-based promoter of foreign cryptocurrency companies. Two, they worked with a whole bunch of other countries in Europe to take down a huge malware creator. Three, they busted a social media influencer for election interference through a voter disinformation campaign. Four, they caught a hospital researcher who was selling secret hospital research about pediatric conditions to China. Five, they caught a guy that had been hoarding PPE equipment and then price gouging healthcare workers. And then, number six, they got 6 people fraudulently getting PPP loans, including one guy who used the money to buy a Tesla and a Bentley. It's always the car that gives it away. It's kind of like watching the movies. This stuff is so entertaining. And of course, the topic of the week was GameStop, Robinhood, Reddit, whatever you want to call it, but essentially market volatility. Tons of regulators made comments that they're looking into what happened and reminding firms that they do have requirements around controls and obligations related to market volatility. And I'm pretty sure there is going to be no shortage of investigating with our new federal administration. For those of you following climate regs, it's been a while since I've had an update, but it's probably going to change now that the SEC announced a newly created role, the Senior Policy Advisor for Climate and ESG. In Compliance Corner, the SBA announced steps they're taking to improve the loan review process for the first PPP to make sure that small businesses have as much time as possible to get funds. For those of you following crypto, the SEC and the CFTC had some significant crypto-related busts, and FinCEN extended the time for people to comment on their proposed rules regarding convertible virtual currency. For those of you following LIBOR and the LIBOR transition, the chairman of the Alternative Reference Rate Committee, or ARC, along with the vice chairman of institutional securities at Morgan Stanley, authored a Bloomberg opinion editorial called LIBOR's Endgame in U.S. Requires Urgent Preparation. It explains the significance of some of the late 2020 announcements by regulators and LIBOR administrators. So go take a read and get ready for some hard work. For those of you watching privacy, Zoom settled with the FTC over allegations that it misled consumers about the level of security it provided for its Zoom meetings. Go skim the order and see all of the hard work Zoom has to do now to get its practices up to snuff, especially for Mac users. And finally, in state news, the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation signed memorandums of understanding with 5 earned wage access companies, establishing what the department believes is to be the first agreements of their kind between fintechs and a state regulator. That's it this week for Regulator's US Alerts, but before I wrap it up, I'm very excited to share that a form of this show has been picked up by Decentric Media. We're calling it the RegTech Roundup, and I will be interviewing guests. I'm looking forward to your feedback on the first episode that's scheduled to come out next week. Otherwise, see you every Wednesday morning on LinkedIn and YouTube.